Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Innovation Podcast, your source for all things innovation. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Benjamin Antier on the line, and he's a co-founder and chief product officer over at Publica. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Good to be here.
All right, so I'm excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to talk about innovations in advertising and what you're seeing. But before we do that, let's go a little bit further into your company. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing over at Publica, please.
Sure, yeah, thank you. So Publica is a connected TV advertising platform. So what that means is we work with publishers and content owners on everything that they might need to run an ad-supported business. So what our initial idea was basically to bring all the concepts that have been and the technology that's been working incredibly well in the web space and bring that over to the TV world. And we started on that mission about 4 years ago, and today what our platform does is enable these publishers to sell their inventory programmatically to any buyer within less than a second on an auction model. So it's we've come a long way, and we're working very hard on bringing the TV into the future, basically.
Well, that's amazing. And we're going to go further into the future and kind of the technology and what that looks like. But before we do, at the end of this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to leave, contact information. And I want to make sure that the right types of individuals and or publishers connect with you. What are typically a right fit for the platform? So for Publica overall.
Yeah, so we work with anybody who has video content and is delivering that content over the top to their users. So anyone from any sector you can think of, news, sports, entertainment, anyone that has an ad-supported business model, we're always very happy to talk to because there's usually a lot of things that we can help out on.
That's awesome. So let's switch it up a bit. So I do want to get into, first off, the OTT, all that. I mean, it's just exciting stuff to me. But advertising, innovation in advertising overall. I mean, where do you want to begin with this topic? Because it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to say. That's for sure. I think ultimately it starts with trends, right? And what's interesting is, I think in any industry, when innovation is not being driven by users and their viewership trends or whatever trend you're looking at, it's much more difficult, right? And we're very lucky because right now we're in the middle of this massive shift where audiences are moving from the traditional cable television offerings to entirely over the top, meaning, content delivered over the internet directly to any device. And so that itself creates a unique opportunity to innovate because all of a sudden, the technology is different, the trends have just continue to strengthen and go in the same direction. So really at that point, it's wonderful for startups like Publica to come in and say, well, what if we just did things a bit differently and adapted the technology to what people are actually doing,
So take us a little bit further down the line of what the user experience looks like. So somebody's listening to this right now, they're thinking, oh, this might be a good fit for me. Like, take me through what that kind of relationship would look. Let's get into some of the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, technically speaking, how does this technology work? So if you're turning on your TV, you have a connected television, it's connected to your Wi-Fi, you're watching a show, you get to an ad break, whatever the context might be. At that point, what happens is the TV sends a signal to Publica saying, hey, I have 60 seconds of ads that I need to deliver. And that's where our technology takes over. We run an auction in real time between the largest programmatic buyers in the ecosystem. We obviously pick the highest yielding creative, so we make sure that the ads that are selected for that particular device are going to yield the most revenue to the publisher. but we also optimize for the user experience. So we're going to apply logic to make sure that obviously there's no ads that are played twice, or that there's no competing brands that are being played back to back. So that's really what our technology does, is find the highest yield in real time, but also create the optimal user experience to match the user experience that people are expecting on TV, which is full HD, high quality advertising that does not repeat itself.
What kind of excites you in this space right now? Because you've been living it now, like you said, over 4 years, and obviously Publica itself has progressed quite a bit, as you mentioned. What just excites you in the space overall? Like, what gets you fired up every day when you're like, oh, this is getting interesting?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's the potential still. It's interesting because sometimes I think you have new technology that comes and it reaches its potential very quickly. And in this case, we're absolutely not there. I think we're really just getting started. I think the technology layer is starting to reach a point that's just incredibly advanced, and far more advanced than anything we've ever seen before in terms of, specifically what can advertisers do today? Now they can target pretty much any user. They can leverage any first or third party data, so you can target anyone based on their intentions of purchase or political views. I mean, there's of course all of that is anonymized, but there's a huge targeting ability, which for advertisers gives them the opportunity to deliver a message in the right context to the right person. There's incredible opportunities to measure also the impact of advertising, and I think one of the most powerful tool sets that we aren't utilizing at all today is the ability to iterate extremely quickly. I think in marketing, it's always about identifying what works best and doubling down on that channel. But in order to do that, you have to try many different things, and you have to be able to shift budgets really quickly. And having a programmatic-centric way of buying advertising space on TV changes the paradigm completely, because if you go from having to prepare your Super Bowl ad 9 months in advance and determine what's going to be shown, to being able to react based on how your audience is reacting to your first quarter commercial, you can show a different commercial in the third quarter. I mean, it's just, the potential is insane. And I think advertisers took a little bit of time to understand the ecosystem, and also they needed to make sure that it was a trustworthy environment where ads are properly tracked and everything. And I think now that we're finally at that stage, we're going to see advertisers lean in, and really that's when we're going to start to understand the full potential of this new medium.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I know, as you're saying this, I'm thinking to myself, like, the idea of being able to switch up your ad towards fourth quarter, all these other things, to be able to do things that quick based on responses, like, that's going to happen, and that will happen. And I think about, like, on the very, very small level, I think about, like, Facebook ads, how you can change that, by the hour or by the day or whatever depending on your budget, what makes sense, and how it's so real time. And again, that's a very small example, but now you think about that to the scope of having that type of real-time control on every ad platform, on any potential ad spend you have anywhere. It's mind-blowing to me. It's like, whoa, it's just it's a lot. It's a lot for me, Ben.
It is for me too, and I think we're all realizing that as we go. And for the advertiser, your Facebook example is exactly right. It's you're going to have the same or very similar targeting capabilities and the ability to react, but you're not going to be stuck to the news feed. I mean, there's only so many messages you can deliver in a news feed. Now take that and put it in the middle of your living room in full HD, and like the potential to message to your customers is just magnified. So I think we're all kind of starting to realize the potential here, and that's certainly very exciting for us.
And then something that doesn't, in my opinion, get as much play or as much talk from many people is that the user experience is better. Like the person that's actually consuming the content is happier, and the advertiser, of course, they want to reach their target audience. They don't want to put their ad in front of somebody that doesn't want to watch it, so that's a waste of money. And then the person and the person that wouldn't maybe have been the right target or the right audience in the first place, then obviously they don't want to see it either. So it's like win-win. If you can, I mean, the holy grail is obviously always getting the right ad to the right person at the right time. I mean, that's the idea. And the closer and closer you get to that, the better a win it is for everybody concerned: the brands, the advertisers, the agencies, Publica, the consumer. Everybody wins.
Absolutely, yeah. That's certainly the goal, and I think you're also in an environment, particularly when it comes to live, where users absolutely expect ad breaks. You know, I think a lot of the frustration in web advertising is that people don't necessarily understand the value proposition of a free website and why that needs to be ad supported. I think in TV, it's completely accepted by everybody that, you know, when you get to halftime of whatever you're watching, you're going to get ads. And frankly, that can be an enjoyable part of your viewing experience if the ads are done properly. So absolutely, I think reducing user frustration and making sure that when an advertiser delivers their message, it's you know, in a context that is going to be well received by the end user is extremely important.
That's awesome. So Ben, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more about Publica, I mean, what's the best way for them to connect with you and your team?
Yeah, well, they can go on our website. They can add me on LinkedIn. You know, send a message. We're still a small team, and so we're always happy to talk to anybody who's interested in what we're doing. I think that's part of our success thus far with Publica is we've gotten very good at building. That's for sure. We build technology every single day, and we customize our technology for our customers. But we also partner, right? We build with people. And so if anyone's interested in this space and has ideas or wants to test concepts, we're always the first company to say, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's figure out how this creates value. And if it does, let's build it. Let's try things. Let's track performance and let's iterate. So, yeah, please feel free to reach out directly to me or visit our website and drop us a line, and we'll be very quick to respond.
And what's that website address again?
Getpublica.com. There's the get in there. So, yeah, getpublica.com. And you should find the contact page pretty easily. Or email me directly, ben@getpublica.com. That works too.
Fantastic. Well, Ben, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about all the great work that you're doing over at Publica. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review in the Apple iTunes store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Innovation, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. I'd love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Ben, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Adam. Really appreciate it.